Hello everybody, April 24th, 2023. We're going to take a look at what Bitcoin has done, which isn't much. First up, what I said on Friday. We had seen Bitcoin lose that 28.8 level. And so we were saying goodbye to the bulls and hello to the bears. And nothing has changed about that, basically. So we still have these big picture scenarios here. Yellow, orange, and red. I kind of, switched some things up on the chart just to make it a little bit more clear, hopefully. Yellow is the only bullish thing I can come up with, and it's involves a leading diagonal, which really is unreliable. It still involves likely a move down further to 19.6 to 23.7. So, as I said, even in that bullish scenario, sub 24K is likely. Then we have some bearish scenarios, orange and red. Orange targeting like 12 to 14K next, and red potentially targeting as low as 1,500 to 2,500. Now, in the short term, if Bitcoin had hit temporary bottom, which at this point it looked like it has, that we'd expect to bounce to 27.8 to 28.4. We have seen that so far. It may need to go up there again. I'll show you what I mean by that. But we have seen that so far. And then the next target below is 25.9 to 26.4. So I think this short-term expectation has, in fact, been proven at this point. And this, word "if" that I put in here, we can kind of get rid of that and say, yeah, this is probably what it's doing. Now, above 28.8, that kind of gets unlikely again. We'll have to look at some other things. But all right, so jumping into Bitcoin action, let me just pull back a little bit here. Friday video was basically right here when we were having these little wicks downwards, and it looked like it was struggling to go down further. At that point, I said, if we've seen temporary bottom, it's possible to continue bleeding, but if we'd seen temporary bottom at that point, we were looking for a move up here into this danger zone for wave 4, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, wave 4 here, and wave 5 target right there. So as I said, that looks likely. Now, what we saw over the weekend is basically an ABC up, and had we seen follow through to the downside more aggressively like this, then, and hit that target, I would have said, yeah, that correction is over, right? But instead, we got basically another ABC down to a slightly lower low, and now we seem to be bouncing again. So I'm, at this point, operating under the assumption that we're going to see another move up here in what's called an expanding flat, kind of like megaphone pattern. It's not necessary, because as I said, we already spiked that box. It is possible for it just to go down, but I wouldn't be surprised by another move up higher to the low 28 level, maybe up to 28.3 or so. But we'll just have to wait and see if that ends up playing out. It's certainly possible it just continues chopping downwards as well. It's fulfilled what it needs to for that wave 4. So not guaranteeing it goes up more, but I wouldn't be surprised by another move up to test 28 before heading downwards. So this is, interestingly, the 0.5 fib is right here around this red line. That was the trigger for me saying the bears are taking control when we drop below it. And if we somehow get back above it, then it doesn't necessarily mean the bulls are back in control, but if we sustain above it, meaning not just a quick spike and reversal, if we sustain above it, then something else might be going on, and we'll have to kind of pull back and reevaluate at that time, and look at low time frame action to kind of guide what we do next. If we go through somehow through that with 5 waves, then I'm going to have to go ahead and try to long again, on a pullback. I don't expect that to be the case, but that's what I would have to see in order to change my bias. I would have to see 5 waves up. And then, from there, I'd have to kind of pull back to my larger time frame charts and try to figure out what in the heck is actually going on, because it wouldn't really make sense, but you never know. Anything's possible. If we do end up going down to this target, I believe that's likely to be the A wave in yellow scenario or the red one in the red scenario. So from there, I'd expect to bounce either in a B wave or wave 2. And that bounce could go, once we hit this green box, that bounce could go higher than 28.8 and still be bearish. There's nothing wrong with that. It's really just if we get above it before we hit that green box that I might have to reconsider some things. So keep that in mind. If we hit the green box and then go above 28.8, it's not necessarily bullish. It can still be part of that 2 or B. So, and then the next part of the decline should be pretty instructive for us, hopefully, or give us an idea anyway. Because, let's assume we get to this green box here. Let's assume we get up to, I don't know, we'll call it 28.8 for like a B wave or a second wave. So this would then be our 1 and 2, or A and B. If it is in fact a C wave, we would expect to move down to the 1.0 extension, or potentially the 1, 2, 3, 6, but not too much beyond that. So basically, a bounce and then another pullback that pretty much just equals the size of this pullback. That would tell me, yeah, okay, this leading diagonal yellow bullish scenario is a possibility, and we could see upwards from there. However, if we see 1, 2, and then this move dumps really far down closer to the 1.618 instead, that begins looking a lot more like the red scenario. And I mean, it could even go further than that, but we would really just have to watch. It's possible that's still just 3 waves for a C, because we'd still be within this yellow box. But we'd really have to watch the next bounce and how it forms. If it forms as 3 waves and stays below the 0.5 fib of that third wave, then we're in red scenario and it's going to go down. If instead, even if we get that really extended move down, if instead we then see an impulse move up, then we can say that this was probably the bottom and look to buy a pullback. So that's really what we have to continue watching. Now, nothing is going to be super reliable because in the bull case, because as I said, best case scenario, it's in a diagonal where this is our ABC up for a first wave, and we'd be looking at a second wave there. And really, we don't even have great parameters for a diagonal yet. I don't have a channel because we need wave 3 for that, but it would look something like this. Basically, where this is wave 1, that's 2, and then we'd get a 3 up, 4, and a 5, and that would be our leading diagonal, or potentially an ending diagonal, I suppose. It might even give us a diagonal up to that original target I had for wave 5. That is a possibility. But as I said, we really just need to keep watching low time frame action, because I don't see anything impulsive anymore about this move off the low. I was trying to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt, but they've really dropped the ball pretty significantly at this point. So their only option, as I said, is that diagonal, which doesn't bode too well for them. All right, I think that sums it up. So short-term expectations certainly is further down, at least a bit further down to this 26 to 26.4 area. Maybe 25.9 to 26.4 in the short term. Whether or not we get a move up to low 28 again or not in the meantime is kind of up in the air right now. And then we'll see how the bounce forms from there. And either way, I think we're heading down to this yellow box. So, all right, that's all I got. We'll see what the rest of the trading week brings, and I will update you all again on Friday. We'll take a look at Bitcoin then and go from there. All right, good night.